What's going on, guys? It's your boy Damian Bunting. I'm here to give you an update on my white belt journey. If you've been following this channel, you know that I started jiu-jitsu at Team Quest outside of Portland, Oregon in Gresham back in the beginning of August. I'm finishing up my 4th month, going to be going into my 5th month, and man, has this been a eye-opening experience. If we do a quick recap, I did my first tournament in September, October timeframe. I put up kind of the leading story up to that in my inevitable first loss. And guys, you know, I was really kind of shocked by how difficult everything has been getting into jiu-jitsu at this, ripe old age of 46. I've also been, really taken aback by kind of the ego issues that I've had to deal with. I think a lot of people, if you're like me and you're older, or even if you're just, starting jiu-jitsu in general, you have to deal with a lot of ego issues and kind of putting those things aside. It's always said in videos on YouTube and any type of information when people are looking to get into jiu-jitsu, you hear the saying, leave your ego at the door. Well, that's a lot easier said than done, because you're in a sport or an activity where you're actually going up against other people. Something like going back to school, or even lifting weights, or any type of, body transformation or personal transformation. Those are very personal journeys for each individual that's involved, but you're not necessarily doing those up against another person. Although jiu-jitsu is a personal journey, you can't hide the fact that you're working with other people. Your progression and your evolution in terms of being, rewarded or given a higher position, that's all subjective to someone else's opinion. So it's very, very difficult. It's very, very difficult to leave your ego out the door, because so much of what you're doing is based on someone else's perception of your performance. That has probably been the most difficult thing for me to, I don't want to say get used to, but to accept, right? Last week, for the first time in over 4 months, I took an entire week off of jiu-jitsu. And I think that I went through the normal progression that a lot of people go through when you get into the sport, right? Like, I could not consume enough YouTube videos. I could not watch enough instructionals. My personal idea, my personal thought was like, I'm so far behind in everything. I'm so far behind all the other people that I'm training with that I have to try and consume as much information as I can. I have to get as much mat time as I possibly can. So over the past 4 months, I've been going to class 3 to 4 times a week. And that's between the gym that I'm a part of and then any of the open mats that are around in the area. I've been trying to, get better with my cardio, get better with my flexibility. I've been trying to learn as much as I can. But ultimately, I got to a point of not emotional or mental burnout, but my body just gave out. Like, I got to the point a week ago where I could not get off the couch. Like, if I got home from work and I laid on the couch and I had to get up to let my dogs go outside or do something in the house, or, have some sort of interaction with my wife or family, it would take me effort to get off of the couch, right? And then when I would go to bed at night and I would have to get up in the morning, I would have to physically move my legs. I've suffered so many injuries over the past 4 months. I've had a separated shoulder, I've sprained my knee, I've pulled my groin, I've broken my thumb, I've broken a toe. All of this just in the first 4 months. It's like your body is going through what's known as a callousing period, right? Where everything is just is getting used to what you're doing. It's getting hardened. But in that, like, I could not move last week. And then finally, that was kind of the point where I thought to myself, you've got to take a break. Like, you're pushing so hard and you're trying so hard, almost subconsciously, to make up for lost time or to try and catch people that are further along in this endeavor. And ultimately, I had to just realize that, like, it's not possible. Even at the end of the day in jiu-jitsu, if you put in more mat time than anybody else, if you could download all the information into your brain of the stuff that you don't know, Even if you did all of that, it's still a sport that is subjective to the instructor or the person that's in charge of your school or your gym. You can't promote any faster than the person who is in charge decides that it's time for you to promote. You can't. So there's no way to hack the system. There's no way to get better quicker. There's no way to speed up the process. And everybody tells you this when you come in. And I think that I'm not alone when I say that this has been a fight against my own ego, a fight against my own perception of myself. It's a breaking down of this outlook and vision that you have of yourself as a man. And also what we're used to seeing in terms of learning, education, and advancement. Perfect example, I went back to school about 2 years ago. And when I went back to school, you know, on your dashboard, it shows you how many credits it takes for you to graduate. So when you go through your class throughout the semester, you're like, hey, when I finish this class, that's going to be 3 credits. When I finish, you know, these 4 or 5 classes, it's going to be X amount of credits. And that's coming off of this number of credits that I need in order for me to advance. I think in the Western culture, we're so used to having, you know, very achievable, graspable type of ideas to strive for. And in jiu-jitsu, it's just simply not set up that way. Now, we can argue if that's a positive or a negative, but at the end of the day, it is what it is, and it's not set up that way. You cannot move any faster than your instructor or your professor wants you to move, and you ultimately have to get to a place where you're comfortable with that. So that has been my journey over the past 4 months. It's been a whirlwind of getting into this lifestyle, of getting into this endeavor. I think that I've learned a lot. I've definitely figured out where I'm deficient, where I'm lacking, where my strengths are, where my weaknesses are. And I also understand that everything that I've learned over these past 4 months, everything that I've experienced, that's just the tip of the iceberg into a much larger depth of knowledge of what I need to know about myself and about the sport. So it has been a very fun journey. Despite the injuries, despite the pain, despite the setbacks, I have really enjoyed what I'm doing. I've enjoyed being around the people at the gym. I've enjoyed the culture of jiu-jitsu in general. And I can't stress it enough for people who are potentially looking to get into this sport. If you're older, if you're approaching 50, kind of like I am, it's not too late. Get into it, you know, give yourself an opportunity to try it, to train it, you know, go to a competition, see how you do, and just challenge yourself. I think that it's a really good opportunity to learn something about yourself, to stay fit, to put yourself in a position to be able to better defend yourself, and also just to be a part of something that's greater than yourself. If you are currently new to jiu-jitsu, if you're starting this, what has been your experience so far? If you've been doing this for a while, have you lost any of this, you know, intrigue and desire that you normally had when you first started? How have things changed for you? I think that if you guys can put in the comment section what your experience has been, whether that's as someone who's been doing this for a while or someone who's new to this and just starting, I think that you can help another person who is starting their journey. Again, I would love to hear your experience, so please drop a comment below. Let me know what is going on with your journey and where you are. And as always, guys, I want to thank you for being a part of this journey with me, for tuning in, and for listening to me ramble about this experience. As always, I appreciate you guys. Hope you're having a great night, and as always, be great, okay? You guys take care. Be great.